After I started creating games without an engine, going back to a game engine started to feel peculiar. Not because game engines are bad, quite the opposite in fact, but because something fundamental changed in the way I see the whole process. Just like almost everyone else in the industry, I program games using a game engine. But at a certain point along my journey, I started to get interested in understanding a bit more about how things really work behind the scenes. So, I kind of started using my knowledge of Java to really understand fundamental concepts like movement, logic, collision, and physics applied to games. And when I really got involved with all of this, I realized something quite interesting. When you use a professional game engine where everything is already ready, the physics are ready, everything feels magical. You just add a component here, check a specific box over there, and your component works perfectly. And that's truly great, it's supposed to work in exactly that way. But when you do everything from scratch, nothing is magical. A movement becomes mathematics, a collision turns into logic concepts, and when something goes wrong, you know exactly where you need to make changes. And from there, I started diving much deeper into the world of game development without using an engine. At first glance, it might seem quite intimidating. Oh, he's developing games without an engine. He writes everything from scratch. But in reality, what actually happens is quite the complete opposite. What do I mean by that? When we were young children and played with building blocks, constructing little houses and building toys, we felt an immense sense of pure joy in that wonderful process of creating things. And I truly believe it's a fundamental part of being human to feel pleasure from the sensation of building something. So when you take your project and write every single line from scratch, and you know that everything that's working there is because of your effort, every single part that exists there was built by you, what you feel is a deep pleasure in doing it. You don't get bored by writing more lines of code, and you don't get bored by the time it's going to take. You feel immense pleasure in building something that depends purely on you, and you know everything that's happening behind every single thing within it. And the truly remarkable thing is, you do all of this while you learn. While you deeply study the fundamental concepts of physics, concepts of mathematics, you improve your logic, and you learn to be more creative in solving complex problems at the programming level. Programming without an engine has helped me gain more knowledge, but in a fun and engaging way. In a truly pleasurable way. You stop thinking about objects and you start thinking about systems. So, an enemy isn't just an enemy. It is actually a set of rules. And the beautiful thing is that sometimes you don't set out to build something beautiful, but those little changes, those small lines of code you keep adding, end up making your project really beautiful. After that, going back to an engine feels strange. And not because they're bad, far from it. And that's not like the point of this video, to try to push that view. No, but it is because you now know far too much. The experience is not so magical anymore. Now that you understand the logic behind it, what is behind every collision, and the inner workings of that particle system, the mystery is gone. And suddenly, you find that you do not see yourself using that tool quite so often anymore. In fact, now you're starting to question the entire process. And just to be clear, I need to emphasize one vital point. Game engines are truly amazing. They're powerful tools that help us create robust video games in very little time. What I'm sharing here is just another way of looking at things. You might notice that it seems like in almost everything, there's a certain level of superficiality. Nowadays, everything is superficial. It seems like every day a new tool comes out that makes everything easier. So, in an increasingly superficial world, I'm really drawn to the idea of understanding things more deeply, understanding the concepts, understanding the logic behind them. And with that, it helps me use the sophisticated tools and technologies that have been invented much more efficiently. It helps me get much more out of the advanced features that, for example, modern interactive game engines have to offer. Having this knowledge helps me overcome the natural fear of programming, and it helps me not be afraid to face complex code. Of course, sometimes everything goes wrong, but even then we learn and manage to overcome it. So, if you identify with the noble goal of this channel, if you've ever been truly curious to understand things a bit more behind the scenes, or if this video has sparked your curiosity, I warmly invite you to subscribe to this channel, and I guarantee you'll be surprised by what's coming next. And I hope you'll share your valuable opinion here in the comments. Hit the like button, and I look forward to seeing you in the very next video.